So how do you have a date that is fun, playful, and filled with an undertone of sexual tension? Because let's face it, the worst thing that can happen is to have a really boring date that goes nowhere, that is filled with awkward silences, where both people don't really want to be there. What can we do as men to make the dates really fun to be in for ourselves and also for the person that we're on a date with? Because if you can achieve that, then the woman that you're on a date with is going to feel attracted to you, she's going to have a lot of fun, and guess what? You're going to turn her on. Now, if you're new here, my name is Sebastian. I'm a dating coach for men, and I have helped multiple men from all over the world to improve their dating lives. Don't take that on face value. I wouldn't. Check out my testimonials on my website. The link is in the description. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the bulk of this video. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about one of the dates that I had many years ago, where I was very young and I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. And to be honest with you, I didn't really put any effort into that date. I just put on some decent clothes that I had and I just went for the date to the closest bar that I could find. I thought, yeah, I look pretty good. The girl's going to be attracted to me. It's all going to go great. We're going to have a great time. Conversation is going to flow out of me, of course, as it always does when I'm with my friends. And when I turned up for the date, it was awkward as fuck. It couldn't get worse. And the main problem that I found on that date when I got there was that I was not able to make the date fun, playful, and interesting. So it was a very boring platonic date where we would get to know each other. It's almost like two people getting to know each other that are going to be friends, that are working on a similar project at work. And I've had a lot of dates like this where I had no idea what I was doing wrong, because girls would tell me it was nice to meet you, but I wouldn't actually sleep with them and they wouldn't want to see me again. They would either want to be friends or they would just blank me, right? This was like a common thing when I was learning how to do cold approach and when I was learning how to lead a date successfully. And I've identified things that I wasn't doing, and I've identified things that I should have done to stop having that platonic conversation that leads to nowhere. And if you can resonate with this, then the next part of the video is going to give you a lot of great advice and it's going to help you with this problem. Now, the first thing that was my biggest problem, and I think most men will resonate with this, is that I was not escalating verbally. The date was very stagnant. There was no emotional sparks. There was no hook point. There was no fun involved in the conversation. And when that happens, there is no attraction. If there is any attraction at the beginning of the date, it slowly fades away because the date is simply boring. So how do you improve on that? How do you flirt with a woman and how do you escalate verbally? Now, there are a lot of ways of how to do this. However, I'm going to give you two simple ways to do it right now so that you can go into your next date and actually apply this if you've got a date lined up. The first thing that you should be doing is making observations and assumptions. Those are also referred to as stacks. They are comments that you're going to make about the woman that you're on a date with, then are going to get an emotional reaction from her. Let's say they ask a girl if she likes to travel, and the girl says yes, and she gives me some information as to where she's traveled to, what she's done in the past year, and also the next location that she would like to travel to. Now, most guys would be like, oh, that's great. So what do you like about traveling? And if you deliver it in the right way, it can come across as a really confident thing. However, most guys don't deliver it like this. Most guys just say, oh, so what do you like about traveling? Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's great. It's very bland and boring. But if you throw in a stack that is relevant to the girl based on what she's told you. So again, she told us that she loves to travel, she loves to go places. You can say that she seems very adventurous. And she seems like maybe she could be a little bit of a troublemaker. And that if she's adventurous enough and if she's cool enough and you guys hang out a little bit more, maybe you can travel to a couple of places together and cause some havoc. Make that little statement with a lot of confidence, with a little smirk on your face, an undertone of playfulness. It's going to have a positive effect. It's going to create an emotional trigger. And then you can go into the question, but what's your favorite place to travel to? Or what do you love about traveling the most? The problem that most guys have is that they ask logical question after logical question after logical question, followed by a ton of fucking logical questions, and that is just plain as boring. Just think about any conversation that you've had in the past. If there was no illogical thing being said in that conversation, it was probably quite boring, like an interview to a job, right? Something along those lines. And that is what you want to stay away from by using emotional triggers. Listen intently to the answer that she gives you to a regular question that you give her, then respond with an emotional trigger. Now, if you want more emotional triggers and if you want more stacks, more ways to flirt with women, I recommend that you sign up to my course From Open to Close. I have tested it out with a bunch of my former clients and they have found a lot of success using that course. The testimonials are in the link below. Check it out. It's basically everything that I coach on a bootcamp put into an online course so that you can use it, internalize it, and then apply it out in the field. It's got a full open to close structure on how to approach women. It's got how to set up dates via text game. It's got a full date structure. It's got exercises to help you become more masculine in your tonality and in your voice. 20 first date questions that are going to make the date more fun and interesting. A little tip on style and fashion because a lot of guys need a lot of help with that. So there is a PDF with lots of great examples of guys with great fashion and style. Another way to flirt verbally is through disqualification. So after a girl says something, you say, "I can't believe you said that. We were up here and now we're down here." So whenever a girl gives you some information about herself, maybe her preference of something, you can use some line like this. Playful disqualification is a really good way to help the girl relax on a date, to not put her on a pedestal, also to show that you're not intimidated by her. So use those two methods of verbal escalation and you're going to see a difference in terms of how your date is going with the conversation side of things. Now let's jump into part two, something that I wasn't doing again, that if you start doing is going to create really intimate dates. The second problem that I had on dates at the beginning when I was learning this is that I was lacking closeness and physical contact. I was afraid to touch a girl. I didn't know how to do this because my dates were very platonic and boring because I wasn't doing the first two things that I was explaining beforehand. There was just no time to develop physical escalation. Now, if you want to develop physical escalation, there are certain things that you can do. You can play some games that are going to help you achieve this without it being awkward, without it being forced or pushy. Because the last thing that you want to do is have uncalibrated physical escalation. You want to start slow. You can open the door for her. You can put your hand on her lower back. You can also give her a hug as you first see her and tell her that she looks beautiful, that she looks great. And that is already helping you develop physical escalation. But it's going to be calibrated because it starts small and then it's going to progress as the date goes along. You can tell her to give you her hand, literally read her palm, something that is quite funny, something that is quite playful. You can even make it quite mysterious and not give everything away straight away. Another great way is to test her strength. So this could be, again, as you're leading to the second venue, if you've got a second venue lined up, you can say, "Do you work out?" She's probably going to say yes. And then you're going to say, "Okay, let's test something." You're going to tell her to stand up or to stand close to you. And then you're going to tell her to put her hands out. Grab her hand like this, so from each side. And then you're going to tell her to try and keep her hands up as you're going to pull down to see how strong she is. And this is a really, really fun way of getting really physical and close with a girl. You want to maintain eye contact and you want to smile as you're doing this. Those two methods are really great ways to organically develop physical touch, physical escalation, and to get close to her. You cannot go from 0 to 100, okay? This has to be in a calibrated way. So do it step by step. And if you want to learn right now, really quickly, sign up to my course From Open to Close, where calibrated physical escalation is broken down into bits so that you understand it, so that you know exactly how to do it on an approach and on a date. So those things, closeness, physical escalation, and verbal escalation, are essential. And I mean essential on dates if you want to have successful, fun dates that have an undertone of sexual tension. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, leave it a comment, let me know what future content you would like to see, and I will put it on the list because I want to make content that you want to watch and that's going to give you the most value and help. If you enjoyed the video, then check out some other content that is already on my channel because there's lots and lots and lots of videos that are going to help you improve your dating life.